it's 9:07, and that means it is time for the forum here with our host, Pat Sacco.
Good morning, Mike.
Morning, Pat.
Beautiful day out today.
I love this weather.
Somewhere in Arizona.
Yeah, somewhere it's beautiful. Not here.
It's going to be a typical northern day because they say it's supposed to rain all day.
Oh.
Where I came from in February, we had a rain cloud that started in Cleveland and ended in Boston. Day after day after day. And you thought somebody stole the sun. And then finally came out, oh, thank you. I have a couple of really neat guests. Oh, I want to say good morning to everybody. Adrian is sitting there with her crafts, watching very carefully. And if she could wave and smile at me, she would wave and smile at me. And, no, I can't say that. That's a secret. Anyway, welcome.
Thank you.
I have Shantae Medlin.
Shantae Medlin.
Shantae. I'm kidding. I didn't say Shantae. Shantae
Medlin.
Yes.
Thank you. Who is director of activities for memory care?
Memory care director.
Oh, memory care director. Excuse me. You do have an activity director. Do you do that too?
We have activity assistants.
Oh, okay, good. And Diane Rodriguez.
Yes.
Who is, now let's see, your director of memory.
We have a place for you.
Director. Everybody says that.
Director of Community
I was
Relations.
just going to finish that up.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's okay.
For both of these people work at a beautiful, beautiful
Aw,
place.
thank you.
And they're one of my
Thank you.
sponsors, and it's warm to my heart.
Aw,
Thank
thanks.
you.
And it's called the Cabana at Jensen Dunes.
Yes, it is.
And I describe it like the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, great.
And think about this. You drive up Cedar Street, that's like the beginning of the movie, black and white. You hit the crest of the hill and you see this beautiful building, and suddenly it's Technicolor. Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
Yes,
You are-
absolutely.
You are the Wizard of Oz buildings.
Oh,
Beautiful
thank
dunes
you.
out in front of the building.
Mhm.
Gorgeous swimming pool that you can sit up on the deck above and watch the people swim. Swim.
Yes.
And there are plans to expand at some point.
Yes,
Besides,
there is.
we're not going to talk about that unless it's official.
Not official yet.
Not official. But what I really, really like about the dunes, other than the staff is impressive to me, it's amazing. When you walk in, there's a little tiny lobby and a bar behind it.
Yes.
And you can get a cup of coffee or something hard.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have to tour this building, it's neat. It's spread out. I mean, they've got a really nice gym, a rehab section, a room with a doctor's setup for
Absolutely.
doctors to come in and see the patients.
Hot cookies every day.
Hot cookies.
Mhm.
You the
They get us in
the
trouble.
Spunkmeyer thing.
Mhm.
Yes. One of the guys that actually used to work at your building had worked in another building, and every time we had a health fair, he brought the machine.
Oh, wow.
So he's
Ah.
making hot cookies for people running. Boy, I was there all the time.
Very
I'm a visitor. I'm a visitor. Give me cookie. It's a beautiful place.
Thank
And
you.
what I like about it, it's not isolated, but it's not surrounded by noise.
Mhm.
Right. Right. It's like a
That
hidden
makes
gem.
sense. That makes sense. Some people like to be right on US 1, right where the action
Right.
is a few minutes. Others just don't want to hear that noise and the driving the cars and trucks and stuff. It's so, and people, I love it when they say, well, you all have the same ALIL license, okay?
Mhm.
But each building is a different culture.
Mhm.
Correct.
It's like Tiffany Hall and Palm Gardens are across the street from each other. It's like one is in Ecuador, the other is in Bolivia.
Mhm.
You walk in, there's a completely different
Feel.
a culture in that each building.
Right.
And being that I travel around to a lot of the buildings, and they all say, we have a room here for you. I'm impressed with that because don't generalize to say
Right.
they're all alike. No, they're not at
Right.
all. And sometimes you can go and work in a building and the worst comes out in you.
Absolutely.
And you can switch jobs and into another situation like that, and the best comes out of you. So I believe everybody has goodness.
Mhm.
Sometimes the fit is not right.
Absolutely.
And I want to compliment your building because, there was a little bit of turnover when it began, but not anywhere near a usual startup.
Mhm.
I think when they see people's resume and they interview them, look pretty good and put them in the job, and that's in the beginning. They're not part of that culture yet. They're not part of
Right.
that family yet. And then once you establish a good family, when people would ask me, what do you look for? I was an ombudsman. And what do you look for when I go in a nursing home or whatever? I said, what you want to do is check to see what the average length of time the nurses and the CNAs are in your building.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yes, indeed.
Stewart has people that are 30 years there. Stewart
Mhm.
Restorative,
Mhm.
30 years. What does that say for their
Says a lot.
service, right? But it's like rats jumping off a sinking ship. Oh, that was been here 3 months that she started yesterday. Kind of, I don't know about that.
Right.
And I said, don't ever look for pretty.
Right.
Look for service.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're taking a tour and you see somebody with their husband, go up to them and say, excuse me, how do you like it here?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That drives the marketer crazy.
No, it's awesome.
When you're getting a tour,
We had a tour that came in the other day, and it was funny. She came purposefully 15 or 20 minutes earlier, so I didn't know that she was there. And she started talking to a resident that was there. So as soon as I saw her talking, instead of me interrupting and kind of starting, I'm like, you know what? I'll let you guys do your thing. I'm going to go to the back. And when I actually was able to get the opportunity to speak to her, she said so many amazing things and how much she loved the building. So she kind of, helped
Well,
me market.
you have
all
ambassadors in the building.
resident ambassadors. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
I set that up in the secure unit, and we would assign one of the clients in there to the new person. They would sit with them for the meals,
Mhm.
and go to activities a while till they got somebody. Because a lot of times you put somebody in a group and they don't know anyone, and
Right.
they kind of pull in and
So
get
that
scared. And
that's what's a little
Absolutely.
different about the culture in the building now. I'd want to say with the new management company that we had take over. I think it was in June or July, the beginning of June or July. Everything that we do, because you were saying how every building is different. We are. Sorry, I'm tapping on the table right now. Every building is different. So we really focus on the individual. When you're choosing an assisted living community, first, just to make that choice, to say that assisted living is what I'm looking for, that's an emotional process. And then
Right.
picking which assisted living is the right one for you is also just as emotional, even more so. Because sometimes, family members or the resident themselves doesn't really want to make that decision as of yet because it's scary. It's the unknown. It's something that's never been done before for them. So we really focus on the individual. Everything that the new management company is teaching through workshops and trainings that they're doing here at the building is all about the individual, what's important to them, because one size doesn't fit all with these residents,
That's,
whether from memory
yeah,
care
that's
to
what we were
assisted
talking
living,
about.
right? So that process, so from the beginning when they come to meet us and we meet with the family to the move-in to when they're actually there, everything we do is on an individual basis and not kind of, for lack of better words, feature dumping. This is what we have to offer. These are our events. These are our activities. This is what we do, because it's that important to each and every one of them. So
Mhm.
that's something that's different from us. I think that makes us stick out than the other communities.
Okay,
Absolutely.
what's different in the memory care unit?
In the memory care
Gotcha.
community,
Community.
Community. I'm sorry. I didn't say
Okay.
facility. I didn't say facility.
in our memory care community, what I like about it is just the freedom, the overall freedom. In a lot of the memory care communities, they have less space for them to move around, and they don't. It feel less of like a jail or institution because they have a separate activity space. They have a separate dining space. They have a separate kitchen space. They have apartments that look like an apartment and not a room.
Mhm.
They have their own kitchenette, their own refrigerator. I mean, it's set up just as if they were in assisted living on the other side.
As they should.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
exactly.
Mhm.
Don't
So
live in
that's
a
what I love about
dormitory
it.
kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
What's your ratio of staff and residents in the
It's
memory
not-
care unit?
Totally during the day, it's like 10 of us there total.
Out of how
on the
many
floor.
patients?
We can hold 38.
And you have 10 staff?
We have 10 total on the floor.
I love you.
Mhm.
I was asked to go to a nursing home. They were going to take a whole wing and convert it into a secure unit because they didn't want to say Alzheimer's unit,
Mhm.
secure unit.
Mhm.
And I said, what kind of ratio is it? Oh, 10 to 1. I said, I'm out of here.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say a word to you. Well, why? I said, I want a 5 to 1. Minimum 5 to 1.
Yeah.
Because if there were 10 patients and 5 staff, for instance, and everybody had 2, well, one is making a bed. Now we only got 4. One was running for an emergency. Now we only have 3.
Right.
It's rare to have the total number of aids to those patients at any one given time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I
right.
said, well, you're just wasting your time. Why don't you just put them in front of a television set for, what can you do
Mm-hmm.
with a 10-to-1 ratio?
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure you're running around trying trying to get out of the door,
Right.
and little spill in the floor and fighting and those kinds of things.
Absolutely.
They drive me crazy.
And I think that's what
Yeah.
sticks out with our memory care. So we actually don't call memory care. We
Right.
call it Valeo. All of the things that we do
What language is that?
that's Latin.
Oh,
Yeah. Remember we were looking it up. Yeah. To thrive.
Vallejo.
So everything
That's
that
a
we
gas
do.
company. Go ahead.
It is. They're thriving. That's why.
That's
There you
right.
go.
They are.
So everything that we do at the building is all about again, the emotional stand piece, the the terminology that we're using. We're not saying, like you were saying, patients. We're saying residents, not facility or unit. It's community. But even deeper than that, when it comes to assisted living, we actually call it SALIS. And it's the well-being. So just to focus on how do we keep them engaged? How do we give them a quality of life instead of just recognizing them for their diagnosis or the issues that they're having
Absolutely.
right now that's making them want to choose an assisted living. Let's focus on the things that make them who they are, or made them who they, their profession in the past, if they were a lawyer back in the day or a doctor, things that really make them come alive. And so that's what, even for memory care as well, we, find out so much about these families prior to moving in,
Right.
just so we can kind of give that quality of life and engagement throughout the time.
And you're
that they're there.
amazed too when you find out the background of these
Oh
people.
yeah,
my
it's
goodness, yes.
it is.
Excuse me.
It's a beautiful thing.
Excuse me. Got it.
And then it helps
It's
with the
cold out there.
it's okay. It helps with the compassion piece as well, because then we really get to see them for who they are and deeper than the layers that we're seeing right now. And, getting to fall in love with their families and them. And, it helps just with the whole full circle of it, which is great.
Yeah. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It
very
is.
different.
Another culture.
Mm-hmm.
Completely
Yeah.
different. If you walk in another
Absolutely.
building and say, well, where's this? Where do you do that? And they go, what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you have enough activities, materials, and all that stuff. To keep them
Absolutely.
going.
And it's
And the
enough for them
CNAs are
to
trained to do some activities with them.
absolutely.
Yes.
And it's enough for so it's not, of course, you always plan everything, but in memory care, you can't really plan because you may say that on this day we're going to do X, Y, and Z, but if the resident feel like that's not what we're going to do,
I can do it.
this is their world, and that's how we treat
Mhm.
it. It's their world. This is their home, and we're visitors in it. So every day, that's what we go in with that mindset. Okay, so if they don't feel like doing X, Y, and Z, what do you want to do today? This is what we're going to do.
And
Mhm.
all the families are customers.
Absolutely,
Customers.
absolutely,
You have to treat them like that too.
absolutely.
And engage them, bring them in. And if somebody's coming to visit, hey, look at this activity, see what they're doing here. Educate.
And the
educate.
residents come first, and they are people
Absolutely.
just like everyone else. We take them out like everyone else. They go bowling, they go
Mhm.
to the movies, they do everything everyone
Go
else does. So,
shopping. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's fun.
They had a fun story
It's
at
an-
Dollar
it's-
Tree one day.
You go with them?
It's an
You go with them?
adventure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It's an adventure, but of course, yep, we go anywhere they want to go, we take them. So
Where this place I was mentioning is an assisted living, no, independent assisted and memory care, they call it. And they had this real neat women's group. And the women would cook a meal every couple of weeks and they would go shopping for it. They would all help to prepare it and everything. And if you wanted to come and eat that meal, you paid $5 if you didn't help. And they used that money to buy more supplies and stuff. Cool. Well, the
nice.
guys had nothing. So I started a men's pizza and beer group. And once a month, we took the van, went to a pizza place, and we had pizza and beer.
There you go.
And they loved it. They had their own group. But a lot of times you don't plan. The guys don't want to do anything.
Right.
You are
But they want-
welcome to do the pizza and beer group.
But they
At
want
our
pizza.
place, by
They
the
want
way.
pizza and beer, Yeah,
Absolutely. Come on.
All right, we'll get a group together. We'll do pizza and beer.
Come
Okay.
Isn't that
Sounds good.
neat?
We have a poker night, so maybe that could be the same night that you do the pizza and beer
There you
night.
go.
Oh, yeah. I'll be there. All right, let's switch around. First of all, we're going to take a little break. We do it at that time of the hour,
on. Okay.
and we'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
we go back to the forum with our host, Pat Sacco.
Good morning again, Michael.
Morning.
We have our guests. We've been talking about the palms of St. Lucie West.
Oh.
And that was what we were just discussing. But you're not from the Palms. You're from the Cabana
Yes.
and Jensen Dunes.
Yes.
And Shanta.
Shantae.
Tay. Jeez. I went, Shantae. And I hit the table to him. So, Shantae. Okay.
Shantae.
I have Shantae
Yes.
and Diane. Two of the, among the best of this building. Among the best
Aw.
of this.
Oh, thank
service.
you. Thank you.
All right. Shantae.
Shantae.
I was Shantae.
We can do it as a
Why
group every
wouldn't
time
we?
you say it if you
Why
want
don't we do it as a
to help.
Shantae, I know you were born at a very early age. Fill in your background. From what? Go ahead.
I'm Shantae. Was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. I have 4 lovely kids, 4 boys, 1 girl. I
Ages
have from 25 to 13.
25.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I've been married for 17 wonderful years.
Very good.
Still in love. Yay, me.
And him or her, whatever, you know.
Paul Medlin,
Thank
wonderful
you.
husband.
All right, okay.
I have been in the healthcare field since 2001. I found out early on that my passion was memory care. I, kind of went back and forth with between hospice. I went to school for radiology.
Oh.
So I am a certified radiologist technologist. Went to school to be an RN. Was a little short, 3 classes. So, but my passion is memory care. So that's where the buck stops. I love what I do on a daily basis. I just love going home with the feeling that I've helped someone and just knowing that my residents are safe, happy, and every day is just a new adventure for me every time I walk in that door. So that's what I love to do, and that's what.
And the experience that I had in that unit was marvelous for me. In another life, I was a speech language pathologist.
Ah,
And I taught at a college that curriculum. It was supposed to have been for 2 years and ended up being 20.
oh, wow.
But again, in my heart, I'm a therapist.
Hmm.
Okay, and I think that's how I approach people who have problems with dementia.
Absolutely.
I approach them from the therapeutic side. I'm not a counselor, but I'm a person they can talk to, and I can give them direction. And so many of them need direction. They need an explanation of what's happening because the medical profession doesn't fill them in.
No, not at all.
I'll tell you a quick one. I've used this a lot. I got a phone call, I don't know, a year ago, whatever, from this woman. She said, I got your name, and her exact words, I got your name from the Office of Aging. They said, you're the man. You're going to help me. I said, certainly. What can I do for you? She said, my husband just got diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and I want you to give me the name of a good therapist so we can get his memory back.
Oh,
And I said, ma'am, we are not going to talk about your husband right now. I said, you and I are going to have a come to Jesus talk. Are you ready? Yes. He's going to get worse.
Yeah.
Now, here's what we need to do. Send a social worker to her home. Got her to go to a support group. Got her to go to look in an AL with a secure unit, with a memory carrier, whatever. Knowledge takes the fear away.
absolutely.
And I can't believe that the doctor wouldn't have said something to her about that.
Well, I always tell a family.
But we need people like me to just move them along, because
Right.
they're lost. They're lost.
Because doctors go to school not to stop, like to keep going. And I always tell families that you have to be the one to advocate when it's time to stop, and just understand that this is it, and you have to move forward with this
Right.
is it, and try to live in the now.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not condemning the medical profession. I think
No,
there's some
not at all.
And I've had some super fine surgeons that
Absolutely.
have cut me up.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
but, excuse me. But there are those who are good at that and those who are not good. I think, what they don't have in medical school is like a course in communication skills. Do a lot of role playing, a lot of situations, get them to feeling what kind of thing you would turn on to a patient who is talking about X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Because they, but
Or
so-
you have some that'll tell them, but it's the family that just can't take that in. Like they're not really comprehending what they're saying. Like they don't want to give up. So they want to keep on trying no matter
Or
what.
they have unrealistic expectations.
Absolutely.
He's going to come out of that coma,
Absolutely.
or
It's a special pill that's going to wake him up.
yeah, exactly.
So,
Well, that's wishful thinking on our part.
so sometimes they need that outside voice other than a doctor or a family member or a friend to tell them, hey, no.
But
this
it's
is
like
what you
mowing the
need.
lawn. It's like mowing the lawn. Your lawn, and this is true about in services for staff. The lawn looks beautiful. 2 weeks later, you got to mow it again.
Absolutely.
And we have to constantly remind our staff what to do, how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And these in services are extremely important.
Yes, sir.
I used to do the training for the ombudsman program for the 1 hour required review of resident rights, and would go around and do it. And I always would say, okay, at the end of this talk, I'm going to tell you how to be a perfect staff member. Perfect staff member. So I'd go through it and they go, okay, what's the perfect staff member? It's simple. 2 things. Number 1, do the job that you were trained to do. And number 2, treat everyone like your grandmother or grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you did those 2 things, wouldn't you be almost a perfect staff member? Make sure her hair is combed, make sure there's a little lipstick, make sure
Right.
the dress and the skirt and the blouse match. Those kinds of things. Take a little time. Walk around and say good morning to your person.
Absolutely.
Glad to see you today, kind of thing. They don't know what today is. Oh, as a matter of fact, if you have in your memory care unit the month, the day, and the year up on the thing, do you? Take the year off.
We always write it on the
Okay,
board.
don't put
for
the year
them.
on.
Yep.
I had one guy started an argument. What is that's 2006? What are you talking about? It's 1956. Don't you know that?
Oh.
Erased it.
Absolutely.
But everything was fine up until that year. I mean, these
Absolutely.
things you don't read in a textbook, or they don't
No.
tell you in your training.
You learn.
You learn those kinds of things. Little dumb thing, but a big thing.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go to Diane. She has a very interesting background too.
I don't.
Sure you do.
So I am
When you were in high-
originally.
All right, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Now, you're originally from?
New York. I was raised in Rockland County. And then prior to moving to Florida, I was in the Bronx and Queens. So I got tired of the city life and the buses and the trains and, all of that, and decided to move down here. When coming down here, I did take some time off from work so that I could just focus on that transition, with my kids in school and things like that, and started in a home care agency. But to kind of rewind, I came from, a family of salespeople. My dad owned a furniture store in the South Bronx. And so I've been around salespeople my whole entire life. And to me, I think I didn't know really what I wanted to do at that point, just because, you think I want to help people. So I want to be a nurse because I want to help people. And then that's just what goes through your head, not knowing that I can help people in different ways. So back then, it was so funny. My first sale, quote unquote, was when I was at the furniture store and I was really rushing to get my dad home because, we'd be there 7 days a week. And there was a family and they wanted a couch or a sectional. We had the same one. So I'm like, yeah, we have the same one. So that was like my first sale. They got it because I was saying that we have it. It's so comfortable.
Right,
we lay out on it, And so anyway, fast forwarding to now, when I started in the home care agency, I was the office manager and I did a lot of the human resources. And I saw marketers coming in and out. And I just thought it was so cool because I'm like, I can talk to you. I love talking to people. I wasn't, I think, the best at office manager in HR. The best part was when I interviewed and I got to speak with the employees and I got to build those relationships. So when we did scheduling, I was able to actually fill hard spots for my schedulers because I already built that relationship and that rapport with my employees. So just coming full circle, once I was able to get, the marketer position opened up, I had to find my replacement because my administrator wasn't too happy. She didn't want me to leave, but it actually ended up going really well. In home care, it was great. I loved it because I had to, I knew the employees that were getting sent to these patients' homes. So that was, again, all the feels of having that good customer service and making sure that, our care was right. But then after a while, I just felt like I wasn't really building that relationship. It was business to business sales, not business to customer sales. So slowly but surely, I was able to figure out that really, ultimately, I wanted to be in business to customer sales. So this position for director of community relations ended up opening. I was doing really well in home care in terms of just kind of meeting my numbers, making a good presence in the community for the company that I was working with. So I was scared, but once I actually was able to make that switch, I should have been doing this honestly the whole entire time, just because I really get to understand a little bit more about the families, what they're going through, and know how I can bridge that gap. And I take it, Shantae knows, super, super serious. They become my family members at that point.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
She said Shantae. I heard
I
her say that.
know.
You should have practiced with me.
I said it too.
So that's my background. That's how I came to where I'm at right now in the building. And
Very
speaking of-
very interesting background to bring into this kind of position.
Yeah.
And when you talk to marketers, there's a wide variety of their backgrounds, but more of them lean into the healthcare field
Mhm.
to come out of. Sometimes a nurse will be a
Mhm.
marketer, or
Mhm.
that kind of thing. And that's good, but you still have to understand out there. When you look at marketing, it's like a whole new world. People get degrees in marketing. You talk to them and you don't know, where do you live, Mars?
Mhm.
I mean, all the textbook things are this and that, and they're talking about large corporations and increasing productivity and everything. When you come to the healthcare field, it's completely different,
Right.
and they don't understand that. I did 4 years of what you do, and bless you for trying it. It's a tedious job, marketing. Anyway, I worked for a corporation that had 600 nursing homes in the country and 55 in Florida. Well, I got a visit from their head marketer. Came into my building. I was a rehab director there, and I went into admissions and marketing. After the PPS came to be, the government had revised the reimbursements tremendously. They were giving money away like candy. And they finally said, wait a minute, something's wrong here. Then anyway, they come up with PPS. Anyway, he said to me, well, your census is down. I said, of course, we're not in season. And he looked at me and said, what season? I said, oh my dog. Oh my. So I had to give him a little lesson season. And I said, look, I can fill the building tomorrow if that's what you want. He said, how? I said, I can go to the mall and I can push old people over. Fracture their hips or their knees or something. He said, you can't do that. And I said, sir, I can fill a bed, but I can't manufacture a patient.
Right.
My job is to bring people in here. And maybe part of our tour, part of what I say, or part of what we are, brings people to come and live here.
Right.
But I can't go out there and hustle patients. I put my job in line. I was so angry with this guy. I say, why'd you waste this plane ticket? Go talk to people in your area and come back with some knowledge.
Oh my goodness.
It's a political book. I'm not going to tell you who wrote it. It's not too old. And this person describes when you are in government and you get appointed to something. He calls them intellectual idiots. These heads of departments. Ben Carson, phenomenal neurosurgeon. All of his life, had a pampered growing up. Nice family, nice family. And he's head of urban affairs.
Yeah,
The lady who was head of education didn't go to public school. They're intellectual idiots. They don't know anything about the job they've been assigned, but they're really bright. And unfortunately, a lot of times not even in government, but in business, there's the Peter principle. You know that. You rise to a certain level and then you start crumbling. You may be a great line worker and people think, oh, you're terrific. Let's make you a supervisor. And the worst comes out in you.
Yeah.
You get to a certain point that you're not going to be better, and it isn't just rising up the ranks. Because if you want to be rich, you don't work for anybody. You do your own business, like a furniture store or something. In the Bronx.
It's stressful.
Yeah, but it's
Sure
not.
is.
It's not. There's good money in that.
Mhm.
Okay, where what you're buying a couch for is not what you're selling it for. We're
Oh,
not
of
going to go
course,
in. We're
yeah.
not going to go into that.
I know I hate buying furniture down here now because all my family still owns furniture stores up there. So buying it like not at cost kills me.
Yeah, but you can buy it and have it shipped down cheaper than you can buy it here.
No, we've tried.
Oh,
Trust me,
that's-
I've tried to get
Oh,
creative.
that's too bad. I'd offer that.
Mhm.
But yeah, and I can see the dedication from both of you. What
Thank
you're doing,
you.
how you like doing it, and everything. Plus, you have a great leader.
We do.
I've known her for a long time. She is a terrific woman.
Let's shout out
Yes,
Allison
yes,
Graziani,
yes.
the administrator.
She has a nice calmness about her,
Oh yeah.
but she doesn't have anybody pull the wool over her eyes. She knows what's going on. She handles it and does a lot of delegating. I love that.
You know what I love is that she is such a team player. I remember when I first started, we started coordinating the 3rd year celebration, and she was such a huge part at the last hour, getting in there, having, obviously flat shoes on. What do you need help with? What table do I need to move? What do I need to do? Do I need to help serve? Do I need to put food down? Just really leading from within instead of from the front.
Call me when you're done.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
she
Yeah.
helps with
Absolutely.
whatever gap that needs to be filled, like what we were saying before. She is definitely in it with us, which is awesome. It makes it a lot easier for us.
Right. Very easy to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
I like what you said about somebody who was leaving and you were going to leave and your boss was upset because you were leaving, meaning you were doing a real good job for
Mhm.
them.
Well, my
Yeah.
position at that time was open for 8 months until she found me, I guess. So
Oh.
yeah, it was a headache for her. Like, oh man, not again.
That's right, go through another 8 months. Unless they work for a huge corporation, they send somebody down who's very bright but is intellectually an idiot. That's what when you interview. I should have thought about this earlier, because I would ask, like, are you the type of person that would get hit by a Mack truck on a dirt road?
Oh my gosh.
No, you can't ask questions like that. But it's hard to see where they're coming from. Especially
Mhm.
interviews are tough,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to sell yourself is really tough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not if you're true to yourself. And that's what
That's
I try to look at when I'm doing an interview and when I'm doing an interview myself. Like you just have to be yourself
Mhm.
and you should be okay.
Well, Florida has a wonderful 90-day thing.
Yes, they do.
We were just talking.
It's a
about
wonderful
that.
90-day thing, because within that 90-day thing, at the end of the day, it's saying thank you, don't come back tomorrow. And nobody can challenge that. After 90 days, it gets real sticky.
Yes.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then if you let the person go and it goes to arbitration, you may end up paying worker comp and all that stuff still cut out of your budgets. I know, I've been
Mhm.
there.
We're past our 90 age, just so you We were
Yes.
talking about it last night. We had a conversation about it because they're doing interviews and things like that with some people coming to the
Right.
building. So Mhm.
Well, now they have to come up with a good reason.
Yes.
And don't worry, because even if it happens, you can fight for your workers' comp.
it's not for us. It's not for us. We promise.
Yeah.
So actually what we're going to start doing is, and that's what we are doing interviews for, we're having a set memory care staff, right, that we're working towards. So it'll be, we always have that continuity of staff as it is, but it's going to be a set staff for Vallejo and a set staff for Salis. So it's that continuity, it's same faces, same names, instead of us kind of, sharing staff throughout, which is going to be pretty cool.
Right.
Right.
And do you switch staff once in a while?
Once in a while, because it's great for just in case somebody can have an emergency, and for someone to go in memory care and have no clue of what to do and how to take care of a resident is kind of hard, and vice versa. So it should be, some type of I think they all should know how to work on both sides.
You can come up with a term like memory care trained.
There you go.
I like
They
that.
come in and spend a day or two, anything. Okay, give them a little certificate saying you're a memory care trained now.
There you go.
And you say, what's that? Oh, you don't have that yet. I'm sorry. Maybe they'll pick you. They pick me. Any little thing. I once had, I had a large staff at that nursing home. We had 17 therapists and 7 full-time techs and a
Oh, wow.
half-time physiatrist in a
Wow.
120-bed nursing home. How about that? And I had a CODA, certified occupational therapy aide, who wore a white jacket when she did it. And I noticed she was was watching a CNA doing something, and she went up there afterwards, reached in her pocket and handed her this little round cardboard thing. And the CNA hugged her.
Mm.
And I said to her, well, what did you give her? She said, a little thing that says, "You just got caught doing something right."
Oh,
That
yep.
was sweet. I
And
like
I watched that CNA at the end of the shift, and she went to her friend and said, "How many of these did you get?" She said, "I got one." She said, "I got 3." And I had no
Aw.
value at
comp-
all.
The positive
competition.
encouragement. Yep.
Mhm.
Got caught doing something right. How many times do we ever, if ever? I don't know if I've ever said that to anybody. I've
Yeah.
said good job and you're
Right.
doing great, but I never said you got caught doing it. In other words, you didn't know I was watching.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's the time you catch them.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Catch somebody doing something wrong, right, and give them a little round thing.
That's right. That's right.
These little- see,
We might steal
It's
it.
the little stuff.
Mhm.
Mhm.
everybody steals things.
At least I'm letting you know.
Right. As long as it's with a smile,
Uh-huh.
not with a gun. Wow. We're almost done with this little interview. What did I tell you about time?
It was, yep.
It
Well,
flies
quite
when you're
quick.
having fun.
It does. And I'm amazed that we come in here, and I used to do a half-hour program. I jumped to an hour because couldn't get it done in a half hour because I talk a lot.
I would have not noticed.
But she talks more than me. And you're at the other end of the spectrum, my dear.
But yes.
Good place to work.
Yes, we love it.
Nice place to work.
Thank you.
We do love it.
How about the chef? How's he doing?
He's good. He's good. He actually has experience in like so many different areas. So he worked on Wall Street when the World Trade Center went down,
Mhm.
and he was working for. I'm probably messing up this entire story right now, but the parts that I remember, I will tell you. So when the buildings went down, I guess he was still there for some reason,
He
and
said he
so
was still there.
he ended up cooking for the people that were like left there and that were in the debris.
Oh,
And he
Yes.
was cooking for them because he was the chef for, I don't know, let's just say it was like a big bank like JP Morgan or something like that. So he was like the head chef there. So instead of him leaving and trying to get back to his family, he just stood behind for the next day or
Oh.
two to cook for them, which was awesome. I thought that spoke volume. And then he's also worked for hospitals and things. So with our 3rd year celebration, whoever went, it was an amazing turnout. This is when we really got to see exactly what he was bringing to the table.
Everything was homemade.
It was homemade from
wow.
scratch. I
Mm.
mean, we had different stations throughout. So we had an
I'm
Asian.
sorry. Did we see Mr. Pet there?
I don't think we did.
No.
No.
When was that?
It was September 26th.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my dog.
So we had an
I
Asian
came to
station.
the other one. Come on, it's the recent one.
It is, but you didn't get the full effect.
Oh no. Well, just
You just came for the martinis for the last one.
I'll
That's what it
just-
was
I'll
for.
just-
Yeah.
I'll just have to wait for next year.
Yeah, Sheila.
Plus one.
So we had an Asian station, Latin station, American station, all different stations, and he made everything completely homemade. Did the decorations for each station. It was great.
Yes, it was really nice.
It was take a tour around the world. So they had passport, books, and stamps, and it was cool.
September, what was it?
Oh, you're looking September 26th.
Oh, 4
That's-
o'clock, the dunes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
I don't know why.
That's okay.
Something happened.
No big
because I
deal.
would have done that. My niece just got married. Well, got married last year, February. My God, it's gonna be a year.
Mhm.
And her she's like 1 or 2 semesters away from her ARNP.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Good for
nice.
her.
Been going to school for like
Good job, niece.
400 years, and her
400.
husband's a chef.
Nice.
Aw.
We have in Thanksgiving, my in-laws live in Stewart, and my sister-in-law and brother-in-law live in Hope Sound.
Mhm.
So we get together for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Well, Shannon and her husband both work on those days. She'll take a shift. He has to do whatever he's doing.
Mhm.
So they miss out. So we have them at our place on Friday night for another turkey dinner.
Oh, that's nice.
And when we pull the turkey out of the oven, we hand him the knife and say, Matt, would you?
Aw.
And you almost have to take a picture of it. He'd take
Oh,
that breast
wow.
and slice it up. It's like, oh my God. Oh my dog. I love having him come over the house and
Oh
slice the
my
turkey.
goodness. Aw.
Nice. So
I
I
mean-
know about
So that sounds like an
Chef and-
invite.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Okay.
We'll schedule it on September 28th.
Okay.
So what are you guys off to now? Go back and
Well, we have a busy day today at the Cabana. We have our family night where everyone is coming in for a pre-Christmas celebration
Mhm.
with food and helping with more decorations as though we don't have enough to make it even more Christmassy. So we have a lot going on today. We have music and a daycare coming in for our memory care residents.
What are
else
they
we
gonna
got
be
going
doing?
on? Well, the daycare children will be coming in to help with different activities. It's just like painting, and so we have a lot going on upstairs today. We have a entertainer coming in today, so it's full like fun pack today, pretty
Mhm,
much.
mhm.
In the nursing home, it was cute because they would for Halloween, they bring little kids with buckets to give
Yes.
candy,
Mhm.
and all the patients residents would be out in the hallways and we in their wheelchairs
Giving candy.
giving candy, and the nurse
Mhm.
was behind them taking the candy, they were all diabetic,
Oh.
my God.
just quietly pulling the candy. You don't give candy to a diabetic.
Oh my God.
Sugar-free.
There you
But
go.
those were not sugar free. Okay.
Okay.
I know. You have to tell the kids. And the kids don't like sugar free anyway.
No, they do
They want that rush, that
not.
sugar. Like peanut M&Ms.
So we know what to bring you next
Kill
time we
for-
get
kill
an
for
invite.
peanut M&Ms. Right. On September 28th.
Yes,
There you
yes.
3 years. I can't believe 3 years.
I know.
In fact, I sat in the main dining room of the nursing home in Jensen Road, Life Care,
Mhm.
when it opened. And the family it opened was a very religious family. And they had this ceremony, almost like church. They had a woman in there singing gospel songs, and they stopped and prayed and did all these things. And that was like 10 or 12 years, or more than that.
Wow.
More than that.
Yeah,
ago.
time flies.
I know. Well, I don't have any conception of time. You know, somebody says, how long you been in Florida? Maybe 15, 20, 30 years in
Mhm.
January.
Wow.
30 years.
What happened to me?
Oh my gosh.
You know, you talk to most elderly people and they'll say, well, I may be 85 years old, but I have a mentality of 40.
There you go.
That doesn't seem to catch up with your age. I know it isn't for me. You know, I don't think mentally I'm that much different in the
Mhm.
last 20 years, at least.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, because it was bad then. And it's still bad now. There was a cute episode on Archie Bunker. I don't know if you remember, All in the Family. Edith was going through the change of life. And she was sitting in her chair crying. Gloria comes up and sits in Dad's chair and leans over and said, Ma, what's wrong? And through her sobs, Edith said, when I was a little girl, I didn't know what little girls are supposed to know. And now I'm an old lady. I don't know what old ladies are supposed to know.
Aw.
And that's
Oh
the
my
whole thing.
gosh.
There's no set thing you
No.
do,
Mm-mm.
except
No.
for one bad thing. As you age, you become more and more having hardening of the categories.
Of the
Of
category.
the categories, you don't maybe want a cell phone anymore. You don't want to work on a computer. We don't want to know what's going on in the world today. It gets narrower and narrower. And it should expand. This is a time for learning and growth.
Mhm, mhm.
Absolutely.
And I think that keeps you
Keeps the
much
mind.
more sharp,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Oh, one thing before we get off, we have a 3-part series talking about expanding. So our educational seminars are more than just a, health talks and things. We have New Year, New You. So February, I think it's the second week of every month. We're going to talk about power foods and kind of cooking demonstrations and things like that. Things that talk shows usually do. So that's
Is
what
that
we're going
open
to be
to the public?
open to the
You
public.
send
We're
me
going to
the
send
thing,
direct
we'll
mailers.
I'll
Yep.
blast that
Yep.
out to you. I only have 720 people.
Awesome. We can get them all in.
Only?
Only. Yeah, I'm under that 1,000. I'm upset. Well, listen, we're about out of time, and this has been a fun time, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes. Thank you for having us.
You would come back again and
Say
do
my
this,
name
right?
one more time.
Shantae.
All right.
Wow.
So I made an association. I'll tell you about that later. Shantae, right? Okay, and we will have another interesting guest on the forum.
Yeah.